Orin's condescending mandibles clicked as his compound eyes narrowed at the human captain, sneering in disgust. "You barely evolved primates have no place at this council table." Captain Craig Russell gritted his teeth so hard his skull ached, but he kept his tone level. "With all due respect, Ambassador, humanity has made incredible strides. In mere centuries, we've gone from fire to fusion, horse to starship. We've more than earned a voice here." "Your kind are primitive, Captain, volatile. What could you possibly offer?" Orin gestured a spindly arm dismissively at the gleaming assembly hall. "The Council guides 1,000 civilizations. You'd do well to learn your place." Russell stared the smug creature down, fists clenched at his sides. After everything he'd done for Earth, all the accolades, the commendations, the sacrifices, and it still wasn't enough for these self-important bureaucrats. He'd known this meeting was a long shot, but being treated like a child begging at the adults' table stung. "This hearing is over," Orin announced. "The Council has spoken. We do not require humanity's participation at this time." Russell marched out, face burning, as the various alien delegates murmured and clicked behind him. 6 months wasted sucking up to these conceited jackasses, and for what? Embarrassment. Frustration boiled in his gut. He'd show them just what humanity could offer, what they were capable of. His comlink chirped as he strode into the docking bay. His first lieutenant's ashen face swam into view. "Captain, we have a situation. A Suliban raiding party hit Arcturus colony an hour ago." Russell's blood ran cold. "Casualties?" "Hundreds, sir, civilian." The captain swore viciously. Those Suliban bastards. They must have known Arcturus was vulnerable with him preoccupied here, and the Council probably let it happen, eager to put the upstart humans in their place. Russell strapped into the command chair of the Endeavour, knuckles white on the armrests. "Plot a course for Arcturus, maximum burn, and someone get me a line to FleetCom." The crew scrambled to obey as the ship tore out of space dock. Russell's eyes blazed with cold fury as he watched the stars stretch into blurring streaks. So the galaxy wanted to see what humanity could do. They were about to find out the hard way. Russell's hand slammed down on the comm button as the emergency distress call blared through the Endeavour's bridge. "This is the Terran freighter Horizon. We are under attack by Suliban raiders, I repeat. We are under attack, requesting immediate assistance from any Council ships in the area." Russell recognized the panicked voice as belonging to Captain Jenna Marks, a seasoned freighter commander he had met years ago during a routine escort mission. He checked the scanner data with narrowed eyes. The Horizon's coordinates put it closer to a Galactic Council patrol than the Endeavour, but as he opened a comm channel to the patrol, expecting them to already be en route, only silence greeted him. "Council Patrol Zeta 9, this is Captain Russell of the TSS Endeavour. Are you receiving the distress call from the Terran freighter Horizon? They are under Suliban attack in your vicinity. Please respond." A bored-sounding voice crackled over the comm. "Endeavour, this is Zeta 9. We are aware of the distress call. However, the Council has determined this to be an internal Terran matter. We will not be intervening. Zeta 9 out." Russell slammed his fist against the bulkhead, teeth bared in a snarl. Those spineless, sanctimonious bastards, leaving innocent Terrans to die just to make a point. He turned to his helmsman. "Plot an intercept course to the Horizon, maximum burn. Tactical, ready weapons and prep boarding teams. If the Council won't help our people, we damn well will." The Endeavour shuddered as it accelerated hard, pushing the engines to their limits. They dropped out of warp to find the Horizon listing badly, hull breaches venting atmosphere into the void. Suliban assault shuttles were latched onto the freighter's hull like parasites. "Tactical. Target those assault shuttles and fire at will. I'm leading a breach team to repel the boarders." Russell unstrapped from his chair, checking the charge on his sidearm. He met his assault team at the airlock, faces grim behind their tactical helmets. The instant the boarding tube pressurized against the Horizon's hull, they were in, stun grenades and pulse rifles at the ready. The ship's corridors were a scene from hell, emergency lighting flickering over the bodies of Horizon crew. Suliban boarders stalked the shadows, hissing with rage as Russell's team advanced. The close-quarters battle was brutal and bloody, a vicious melee of flashing blades, pulse rifle shots, and desperate hand-to-hand combat. But Russell and his team were elite soldiers, and the Suliban raiders were no match for their fury. As the last Suliban fell, Russell grabbed one of the wounded raiders, wrenching the lizard-like alien up by his battle harness. "Why? Why attack this freighter? What is your plan?" He punctuated each question with a harsh shake. The Suliban commander spat blood, bearing needle fangs in a cruel smile. "Foolish primate. This is only the beginning. Admiral Zelor has declared open season on your pathetic species, and your precious council will do nothing to stop us from wiping you out." Ice settled in Russell's gut as the pieces fell into place. This was no random attack. It was a deliberate provocation, designed to incite a war the Council was all too happy to let happen. A war they expected humanity to lose, and swiftly. He shoved the Suliban away in disgust, mind racing. Zelor was banking on the Council hanging humanity out to dry, leaving Earth vulnerable and isolated. But Russell had a card up his sleeve the Suliban had failed to account for, their own captured ship and the opportunity for some misdirection. He activated his comlink. "Endeavour, this is Russell. Prep a holding cell for prisoners and get me a secure line to Admiral Chadwick at Fleetcom. I've got a plan to beat the Suliban at their own game and give the Council a wake-up call they'll never forget." The secure line crackled to life, Admiral Chadwick's grim visage filling the screen. Russell laid out the situation in clipped, urgent tones, the Suliban's plan, the Council's inaction, the need for decisive action. Chadwick listened intently, his expression darkening with each revelation. "Those Suliban bastards," the Admiral growled, "and the Council hanging us out to dry, cowards the lot of them." Russell nodded. "We need to strike fast and hard, sir. Hit them where it hurts before they can bring their full might to bear." "Agreed. What's your plan, Captain?" Russell brought up a schematic of the captured Suliban ship. "We use this to infiltrate their staging ground, sabotage their ships, gather intel, find proof of their treachery to bring before the Council." Chadwick stroked his grizzled chin. "Bold, risky, I like it." His eyes narrowed. "You'll need a top-notch team." "Already got one, sir." "Then Godspeed, Captain. Give 'em hell. We'll marshal the fleet and stand ready." The line went dead and Russell turned to his crew, eyes alight with grim determination. "You heard the man. Let's move." The Endeavour shuddered as the captured Suliban ship detached from its hull. Russell and his hand-picked strike team aboard. They drilled relentlessly on the unfamiliar controls, determined to sell the ruse. As they approached the swarm of Suliban warships clustered around the staging base, Russell felt a bead of sweat trickle down his spine beneath his tactical hardsuit. The comm crackled, and he answered in guttural Suliban, praying their codes held up. Tense beat. Then, "Codes confirmed. Approach vector cleared. Welcome back." Russell let out a slow breath as they glided into the cavernous hangar bay. The instant the ship settled, they were moving, fanning out with ruthless efficiency. Shaped charges reduced critical systems to molten slag. Data spikes ripped through firewalls, raiding the Suliban battle network for precious intel. Russell led the charge into the command deck, pulse rifle barking. They dropped the stunned bridge crew with merciless precision, securing the room in seconds. As his team worked furiously to mine the databanks, a particular file caught Russell's eye. He enlarged it with a flick of his fingers, a slow grin spreading across his face. "A jackpot," he murmured. "Coordinates for a hidden Suliban research base, along with schematics for some sort of experimental WMD. A bioweapon from the looks of it, nasty stuff, and highly illegal under Council law." Russell's grin turned predatory. This was just the proof they needed to blow this conspiracy wide open. He copied the file and transmitted it burst to Fleetcom, along with a message for Admiral Chadwick. "Evidence secured. Proceeding to target for interdiction. Summon the fleet." Alarms blared as Russell's team blasted their way back to the ship, pulse-fire stitching the hangar walls. They piled aboard under a hail of fire, the ship screaming spaceward as the base boiled like a kicked anthill behind them. The Endeavour swooped in, hammering the Suliban ships with a blistering broadside as Russell's ship docked. The instant the airlock sealed, Russell was running for the bridge, barking orders. "Set course for that research base, maximum burn. We need to secure that bioweapon before they can scuttle the evidence." Stars blurred as the Endeavour leapt to warp, racing against time. Russell clenched his fists, praying they wouldn't be too late. They dropped from warp to find the research base bristling with gun emplacements and defense fields. Suliban warships prowled the perimeter like hungry sharks, weapons hot. "Looks like they're expecting company," Russell growled. "Tactical, punch a hole through those defenses. Marines prep breaching pods. We're going in hard." The Endeavour shuddered as a salvo of quantum torpedoes leapt from its launch tubes, ripping into the base's shields. Pulse turrets chattered, scything down the Suliban fighter screen as the Earthship knifed through the firestorm. Breaching pods shot from the Endeavour's flanks, punching through the weakened shields to clamp onto the base hull like angry ticks. Armoured hatches blew open and Russell charged out, rifle up and scanning. His hood painted targets as the base defenders boiled from their foxholes, pale flesh and reflective eyes, shining in the strobing emergency light. Russell's team fell on them like wolves, riot shields flaring as the air crackled with energy bolts. They fought their way into the heart of the base, step by blood-soaked step. Russell's rifle bucked and snarled, dropping Suliban left and right. A grenade took out a gun nest in a bloom of fire, the blast washing heat over his face. At last they breached the central lab, a cavernous chamber of bubbling tanks and sizzling energy fields. Russell spotted the bioweapon suspended in a glowing stasis tube, its structure twisting with malevolent complexity. "Secure that weapon," he roared. "Tech team, download everything. I want this place scrubbed clean." As his team leapt to obey, a monstrous impact shook the base. Russell staggered, heart pounding. He knew that shudder, the groan of overstressed metal, capital ship guns. Endeavour report. "Suliban Dreadnought just dropped out of warp, Captain." The comm was ragged with static. "It's Zella's flagship. We're taking heavy fire." Russell swore. They were out of time. "All teams fall back to breaching pods. Prepare for emergency evac." Klaxons howled as Russell's strike force raced back through the disintegrating base, the deck shuddering beneath their boots. They piled into the pods just as a titanic blast ripped the lab apart, the bioweapon vanishing in a maelstrom of fire and debris. The pods rocketed clear of the base as it crumbled, the Endeavour swooping in to pluck them from the inferno. Russell tumbled from his pod, already running for the bridge. The scene through the viewport turned his blood to ice. The Suliban flagship loomed over them, its monstrous shadow swallowing the stars. Flights of attack craft poured from its hangar bays, screeching toward the battered Endeavour. Russell's mind raced, desperate for a solution. The Endeavour was tough, but she couldn't stand against that monster for long, and the Suliban knew it. A flicker of movement caught Russell's eye, a ripple of light achingly familiar. His heart leapt even as his mouth went dry. Warp signatures, dozens of them. A sea of blue-white pinpricks against the void, swelling into the sleek, knife-proud shapes of Terran warships. The Earth fleet had arrived, called by Russell's warning. Zelaw's flagship spun ponderously to face the new threat, its killer swarm of drones buzzing with confusion. Russell felt a savage grin tug his lips. Now the odds were even. Now Earth would show these Suliban bastards what it could do. He turned to his crew, eyes alight. "Hail the flagship. It's time we had a chat with dear Admiral Zalor." The space around the embattled Suliban base erupted into a cataclysm of destruction as the Terran and Suliban fleets tore into each other. Lances of energy crackled through the void, ships shuddering and buckling under the onslaught. On the Endeavour's bridge, Russell gripped the command chair as the deck heaved beneath him. Status reports flooded in, a cacophony of urgent voices and screaming alarms. "Shields at 50%. Hull breaches on decks 4 and 7. Rerouting power to forward batteries. Firing solutions locked. The view screen flared white as a Suliban cruiser vanished in a blaze of ruptured plasma, the Endeavour's guns finding their mark. Russell allowed himself a grim smile. They were giving as good as they got. Suddenly, a priority message blared across the comm channels. "Captain Russell, urgent news from Earth." Russell straightened, adrenaline surging. "Report!" "Sir, our ambassador just presented the evidence to the Galactic Council. But the Suliban representative, Orin, he—" "Hey, what, damn it?" Russell snapped, dread coiling in his gut. "He denounced it, sir, called it human trickery and warmongering, and the Council, they sided with him. They're demanding we stand down immediately or face consequences." Russell felt like he'd been punched in the chest. The Council was in on it. This whole farce, this entire conspiracy, all to keep humanity under their heel. He slammed a fist on the armrest, rage and betrayal warring within him. "Those treacherous bastards, what of our ambassador?" "Stormed out, sir. Said if the Council won't uphold justice, humanity will defend itself alone." Russell ground his teeth, mind racing. Earth's forces were fighting valiantly, but the Suliban had numbers and the Council's tacit backing. They couldn't win this battle, not like this. But maybe they didn't need to. If he could expose the Council's duplicity, shatter their legitimacy in the eyes of the galaxy. A desperate plan crystallized in Russell's mind. It was beyond risky, borderline suicidal. But if it worked... "Helm, lay in a course for Zelo's flagship, full burn." He slapped the shipwide comm. "Assault teams report to drop bays for boarding action." Ignoring the shocked looks from his bridge crew, Russell unstrapped from his chair. "Commander Singh, you have the con, hold the line. I'm taking this fight to Zela himself." Singh blanched but nodded grimly. "Aye, sir, give that scaly bastard hell." The Endeavour knifed through the chaotic battle, weapons flaring as it bore down on the looming shape of Zelor's dreadnought. A flurry of drop pods spat from its launch tubes, rocketing toward the flagship's hull. Russell braced as the pod shuddered around him, the bone-rattling impact of contact juddering through the cramped space. The hatch blew and he was moving, rifle up and scanning. Alarms shrieked as Suliban crew scrambled to repel the boarders. Russell's team cut through them with ruthless efficiency, a relentless advance toward the bridge. A blast door shuddered open, and Russell burst through, sweeping the room with his rifle. Admiral Zelo spun from the command console, eyes widening in shock and rage. "You dare! You insignificant primate, you think you can challenge me?" Russell trained his rifle on the snarling Suliban, a cold smile on his lips. "It's over, Zelo. Your fleet is crumbling, and your Council allies can't save you now." Zelor hissed, clawed hand twitching toward his sidearm. "The Council will bury you. Humanity will be ground to dust for this insolence." "The Council will be lucky if it survives the day." Russell tapped a command into his wrist unit. "I've just transmitted proof of their collusion to every major news network in the galaxy. Even if you kill me now, the truth will out. The galaxy will see the Council for the corrupt, manipulative farce it is." Zelo's eyes bulged, apoplectic fury and fear warring on his features. Behind him, the command console chimed with incoming hails from his fleet, desperate requests for orders. "It's your call, Admiral," Russell said softly. "You can go down fighting and watch your grand schemes unravel before the eyes of the galaxy. Or you can surrender and pray the Council's retribution is kinder than your own would have been." For a long, tense moment, the bridge was silent save for the distant thunder of battle. Then slowly, Zelo raised his clawed hands in submission, mandibles clicking in defeated rage. "All ships, stand down," he grated into the fleet comm. "The battle is lost." Russell allowed himself a long, shuddering breath as he watched Suliban's ships power down weapons and shields across the battlefield. They had done it. Against all odds, humanity had stood firm, and the Council's schemes lay in ruins. But as reports flooded in of unrest and outrage, spreading like wildfire across the galaxy, of Council member races angrily denouncing their leadership and demanding reform, Russell knew this was only the beginning. The old order was crumbling, And in the chaos to come, humanity would have to fight tooth and nail to secure its place among the stars. But they would not have to fight alone. Not anymore. Russell turned to his strike team, exhausted but fiercely proud. Let's go home. We have a new future to build. The Suliban flagship's bridge was a cauldron of tension as Admiral Zelor paced before the view screen, hands clasped tight behind his back. Beyond the reinforced plasteel viewport, the wreckage of his once proud armada drifted like broken toys against the starscape. Escape pods flashed as they jettisoned from crippled ships on both sides, the battle's grim toll plain to see. Captain Russell stood firm before Zelor, rifle leveled at the Admiral's chest. His face was battered, a rivulet of blood trickling from his hairline, but his eyes blazed with the fire of victory. Your fleet is in ruins, Zelor. The galaxy knows the truth now. It's over. Zelor spun, face contorted in rage and despair. You think this is the end, human? You've accomplished nothing. The Council will bury this, bury you. We will... The Council's days are numbered, Russell cut in, voice hard as steel. Even now the evidence of their collusion spreads like wildfire. When the galaxy sees how they conspired with you to keep us down, to let our people die, there will be a reckoning. As if on cue, the comm panel chimed with an incoming hail. The screen flickered and resolved into the ashen face of Councillor Orin. The Suliban diplomat looked haggard, his usual smugness replaced by barely concealed panic. Captain Russell, in light of new evidence, the Council is prepared to discuss terms. We propose an immediate ceasefire and a full inquiry into this regrettable incident. Russell barked a humorless laugh. Regrettable incident? Is that what you call a conspiracy to wage war on my people? To subjugate us under your boot heel? Orin blanched but pressed on. Mistakes were made on all sides, Captain, but surely we can come to an understanding. The Council is prepared to offer humanity a seat at the table, to welcome you as equals. Humanity will no longer grovel for scraps from your table, Russell snarled. Any faith we had in the Council died with the innocents you allowed to be slaughtered. No, we'll forge our own path now. He turned to Zelor, eyes narrowed. Admiral, you're going to help me send a message the whole damn galaxy will hear. The Endeavour's hangar deck was a sea of activity as crews worked feverishly to repair battle damage and prep the remaining ships for departure. Captain Russell strode through the ordered chaos, jaw set with determination. At the foot of the Endeavour's boarding ramp, a makeshift podium had been erected. The tattered remnants of Zelor's command standard draped over its face. A phalanx of armed Terran Marines stood guard as Russell mounted the stage to a sea of tired but triumphant faces. My fellow Terrans, my brothers and sisters in arms, today we have won a great victory, not just for Earth but for every race that yearns to break free from the Council's yoke. A ragged cheer went up from the assembled crew and soldiers. Russell raised a hand for silence. But our victory came at a terrible cost. Arcturus colony reduced to ashes, brave ships and crews lost to the void. And for what? So a corrupt few could cling to power on the backs of those they deem lesser. Anger rippled through the crowd, a low rumble of discontent. Russell leaned into it, voice rising. The Council offered us a seat at their table today, a chance to join their august ranks as equals. I told them to shove it. Scattered laughter, quickly subsumed by a rising tide of approval. Russell grinned fiercely. Humanity will chart its own course, forge its own alliances, ones based on mutual respect, not subservience. Already, many of the Council races flock to our banner, sickened by the truth of their leaders' duplicity. A new order takes shape, my friends, and Earth stands at its vanguard. The hangar erupted into wild cheers, fists pumping the air as chants of "Russell, Russell" echoed from the steel walls. The captain let it wash over him for a long moment before raising his hands for quiet. We have shown the galaxy what unity and courage can achieve, but our work is far from over. Even now, shadowed threats stir in the depths of uncharted space, dangers that could eclipse even the Suliban in their scope and fury. A hush fell over the assembly, the spectre of future peril bleeding the elation from the air. Russell met their eyes, gaze unwavering. "I won't lie to you. The road ahead will be long and hard. Earth has taken its first steps onto a bigger stage, and not all the players there will welcome our presence. There will be challenges, battles, loss." He drew himself up, shoulders squared against the weight of command. "But we will face them as we always have, together as one people, one Earth. The Council sought to break us, but they've only made us stronger, so let the galaxy beware. Humanity is rising, and we will not be denied our destiny." As the hangar erupted into fresh cheers, Russell stepped back from the podium, the toll of the past days writ plain on his face. Commander Singh stepped to his side, concern in her eyes. "One hell of a speech, sir. The crew needed it after everything." Russell nodded wearily. "They deserve more, so much more than I can give." Singh laid a hand on his shoulder, her grip firm and reassuring. "You've given them hope, Captain. A chance for a better tomorrow. That's everything." Russell sighed, gaze distant. "I pray you're right, Commander, but I fear the price of that tomorrow may be higher than we can bear." As if in answer, his comm chimed with an urgent hail. Russell frowned as he read the message, a cold knot forming in his gut. "Trouble, sir?" Singh asked softly. "Always." Russell's jaw tightened as he stared out at the waiting stars. "Looks like we're going to earn that better tomorrow sooner than we thought." "New orders?" "New threats." Russell's eyes hardened, the mantle of command settling over him like a shroud. "Prep the ship for departure, Commander. We're needed at the front." As Singh hurried to obey, Russell allowed himself one last moment of doubt, of grief for the lives lost and the trials to come. Then he straightened, gaze fixed on the infinite dark beyond the hangar's shimmering containment field. The battle for Earth's future was over. The war for the galaxy's soul had only just begun, and heaven help any who stood in humanity's way. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.